All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode. That's right, of the London is Blue podcast. Hopefully your favorite Chelsea podcast out there, and a part of the Men in Blazers Media Network. Dan, one of your hosts here, alongside Jess and Nick, and we are going to be having tons of fun because when you win 5-1, that's the only thing that you can do. It's a Champions League match review. That's right, at home, under the lights, at Stamford Bridge, European nights, and Chelsea get it done against Ajax, against the Dutch side, and boy, oh boy, it was not fun for them in any which way, shape, or form. We're going to be breaking it down in this match review for you. We'll talk a little bit about just how Chelsea got it set up, how Chelsea got it done with the young guns, and then how this kind of plays into the weekend as Chelsea look to capitalize on this run of winning fixtures, Nick, against Sunderland in the weekend. But boy, oh boy, smiles abound to start this episode.
Yeah, I mean, this is, first of all, required win. You have to win this one. Ajax are incredibly bad right now. It's weird because they're historically like a difficult opponent to face, and this is just not the best Ajax that we've ever seen. And the points really matter. This is not a whose line is it anyway bit. The points really do matter in this league phase. And if Chelsea want to get into the top 8, which we'll go through the standings later in this episode, you got to win these matches in particular at home to give yourself a chance. So great performance, a lot of rotation. We'll get into all of it.
And I mean, Jess, we're going to have to talk a little bit about great team win today too. Just the way that every player in the squad seemed to be looking out for one another, trying to set one another up for goals. I mean, we saw first-time goals for, Guiu in the Champions League for Chelsea, for Estevao in the Champions League for Chelsea. I mean, we saw so many firsts on the night, and really just the feel-good vibe seems to be back at this point in time, particularly from the Liverpool game to now. It just feels as if this Chelsea team is coalesced again.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. We were talking before we started recording, and I was watching an interview from Estêvão to Fred Caldeira, which is a Brazilian journalist. And that's actually something that Estêvão talked about. And I think we could see it like reflected on the pitch, how the group is together, how they're helping each other out, how they're always looking out for each other. And it's great that he talked about something that we actually see on the pitch and we can feel it. And I think it even translates to the fans as well. But it also points out about how sometimes football fans are very impatient, myself included, and it's very fickle with football, right? One win and you're just like getting that vibe back. But right now we're just cruising. I'm just very, very happy, as every Chelsea fan with a massive win. Champions League at home, winning 5-1. You can't really complain, right?
Well, and I will tell you.
In fact, Dan, you know what this grin means. Jake, hit that goddamn stinger. Let's go. Come on.
Imagine going to a Champions League final and not winning it, boys.
Imagine not being Chelsea.
Yeah.
The only team in London with the European Cup.
Why not us, Dan?
Yes!
Why not us?
Had to be done. I'm sorry. This is what we do.
Okay, well, the stinger's done. The stinger's in. What I was going to say is, because of the positive vibes, I think that carried forward to some wonderful 3-word match reviews. Nick, I selected a couple from Discord for you. Why don't you share the vibes that the listeners had too, the other Chelsea faithful after this one?
Matt Fitz having some fun with our friends with the red card district. That's a tough one. And that's pretty good. Spanish show, Veni, Vidi, Veghorst. That is excellent. Kyle with more like a lax. That's all right. I know what you're doing. It reads tough. CFC Central. Does anyone know this CFC Central? Has anyone seen?
No idea.
Him before? Interesting. He went with Cruyff turned away because he cannot let a pun go by without grabbing it with both hands. And then Apollo Maddox with kids eat free. That is a very American thing there. Look, these are fun, and it's going to be a fun one, Dan. What is your fun 3-word match review?
Oh, I don't feel like I had too much of a fun one in general, but it's like getting it done. Like, I actually think that, like, it's just so simple that, like, this was actually what you need to do. You overperformed your XG. You got young players into the match. You got a chance for Reggie to get out there as well too. Like there's just so many positive plot lines from this game. Getting it done. Very easy, very simple, straightforward.
Folks, I'm going to cue you into a fun part of the show, a little behind the scenes. Sometimes you'll write the script and forget to put in your own 3-word match review. And I think, if I'm not mistaken,
like
Dan,
to ad-lib it off the top. Let's go.
Perhaps that's what just happened here in this very moment. Jess, would you care to share?
Yeah, as we were talking before, RU Conference League in Disguise is too big, so I can't use that one. So I'm just gonna go. I just went with
really stretching the parameters.
Yeah.
That would be
so
tough.
I just went with red card again because surely it had to happen. It happened, but it's much nicer when it's not us. So 2 red cards to the opposition because I don't know if everybody knows, but they also got someone from the bench sent off, but it was just fun. And that's the vibe. I'm just happy with red cards today. Not normally, but today it's good. Today's allowed.
All right, Nick, take us home.
Come on, guys. I need you to just bear with me here. Vout is a really easy word to rhyme. So I went with Chelsea rout Vout. There's also never in Wout as well. There's doubt, wout, about. There's so many things you can do with
the puns
rhyming
did not
on this
pass
one.
you by either. That's for sure.
Just
look. Anyway, we're gonna talk a little bit about.
Sam would be very proud.
Thank you,
proud.
I appreciate it.
So wedding gift for him. We'll talk about this lineup, this situation, what was going on in the match. Before we do that, just real quick off the top, double-digit number of people now signed up to join us in London.
Huzzah.
Post Boxing Day fixture. A little bit of that pre-New Year fixture, and then the post-New Year's fixture up in Manchester. That's right. We're going to be over there the 27th of December through the 4th of January coming up here. Don't delay if you're looking to book because flight prices continue to rise. No surprise there. But Chelsea versus Aston Villa, Matlow Derby, Chelsea versus Bournemouth at home, and then we're going to be going away to see Manchester City. There's going to be a live pod stadium tour. I know Nick is super excited to go to the holiday markets and maybe get a couple of warm beverages to enjoy while walking those areas, and maybe do a little bit of celebration around New Year's Eve. So just links in the descriptions. Email us, contact at London's Blue Podcast if you need some help and support. Our friend Charlotte XL Tours getting it hooked up, answering a bunch of questions for people. But super excited on the initial interest. Really looking forward to seeing people out there with us. At this point, it's like 2 months and like half a week left until we're like thinking about flying out next.
Bonkers. It is like it's already here. I saw all the Christmas stuff up in Target already, and I was like, oh my god,
it hasn't been Halloween yet. What are we doing here,
dude,
people?
I know it drives me insane. Whatever. I just want to say though, if you are considering, like, we can obviously connect you directly with Charlotte to answer any of the questions you have. If you want to customize your trip, if you want to go see other Premier League matches while you're in London, or you want to go to a West End show, she can help coordinate all that for you. So please let us know. Contact at londonisbluepodcast.com.
All right, well, let's just get into the lineup to start, because I think that is always the best place to get an idea of how Maresca and the team looked to take advantage, and boy, oh boy, they did, of this Ajax team. It was Jorgensen between the sticks. It was Caicedo right back, West Fofana, Tosin, Hato as your back line, and then your midfield combination, Bonanotte, Romeo Lavia, Enzo Fernandez, and then it was an attack of Jamie Gittins, Mark Guiu, and Estevao. Look, he went to the bench, and he went to the bench for every single opportunity to sub a player in for this one. Trev Chalobah, Andre Santos, our guys Ty and Josh, and then Reggie getting an opportunity to come in off the bench as well. Sanchez, Max, Cucurella, Reece James, Pedro Neto, and others unused subs on the day, which is probably a little bit of a bummer for our KM there, Nick. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You would like to see. Yeah, we had time to get one more youngster on here. It would have been nice. But you did a lot. You did a lot.
If only you played center back, then he really could have had a chance in this one. But no, I mean, this is a pretty wild setup just to go off the dome here. It was kind of like a 3-box-3 So you really had Caicedo playing in midfield, despite what the lineup card shows here, alongside Lavia, and then Enzo and Buonanotte pushed up, and then Gittins and Estevao holding the width, and Guiu kind of acting as the focal point. So in that situation, Caicedo can drop back and cover the right back space if he needs to. Fofana was doing that plenty well, and frankly, there was barely anything to worry about once they went down to 10 men anyway. So I think we kind of just got away with one today, but it was a lot of rotation, Jess. It was a lot of, I think, looking out for this weekend and ensuring that the rotation can help get some of these guys who maybe aren't as fit back to full fitness.
Yeah, and I think when I saw the lineup for the first time, I think the name that I was very surprised didn't feature was Malo Gusto. He was the only one that you would look and you didn't see reason, because he's not going to play against Sunderland. But obviously we found out that he is ill, so it made sense. But it was surprising. I guess it just goes to show the care I think Maresca is taking with Reece James and not wanting to rush him. He didn't even feature today. And obviously even Josh, who featured a couple of minutes, but also at right back. So starting with Caicedo, I think it was the only concern I had looking at the lineup, because covering right back, and we know he can do that, but it's not his position. Even if he was, as you said, inverting and in midfield, it was the point of a lineup that I didn't really understand. Jorgensen was a surprise, but not entirely, because of who we were up against. And we saw that Maresca likes to change up his goalkeeper. So I wasn't too surprised about that, but we got the job done in the end. But I completely agree with you. I don't know how that lineup would have worked, and if it would have worked against different opposition. But that's something that Maresca does as well. He reads who he is playing against. He knows who he is playing against. And sometimes he takes risks. And today it paid off.
I think there was something like 20 academy players who were in training up to this game who are on the B list now for this one. And I think
even
that
Iago,
was maybe,
I think.
There was a lot going on here. And I think this was not only an opportunity to maybe get some of these academy pathways established, but also just have a Champions League week where these guys are preparing with the team. I can't imagine how that would feel for a 16-year-old to be a part of that group. And so just really, really cool. Obviously everything pans out and turns out well when you win 5-1, all your moves look genius and all this sort of stuff. But it was definitely an eye-opening lineup for sure.
Yeah, it's the type of game you want to go sign a front of kin sponsor after. You want to be like, hey, see, look what I did here. You got a report card. You want to distract away from other things that haven't been going right. But hey, this is what worked really well. I think what also worked really well against, I think we want to just be very clear. Very bad Ajax side. Very, very bad Ajax side.
Yes.
The supporters, were going after their manager, in the stands. Credit to them. They seem to be up for it the entire evening, which, if you're losing 5-1, very hard to do, but hats off to them for that. You could tell just from the average position chart, Nick, of just how bad it was for Ajax when only one player was actually in our half for the average position of the game. In our half, Tosin was the only player who registered as being in our half. Every single player was either at the halfway line, which was only one of them, or over. So we had 9 players spent more time in their half than any time in our half. And they only had 2 players crest over into spending more time in our half than their half. It was absolutely a turtling from them.
Yeah, it's the product of being down to 10 men for as long as they were, which I think was when was the red card?
Is that 17
minutes? 15 minutes,
yeah. We've been there. We know exactly what that's like, unfortunately.
Same, bro.
Yeah. I think if you looked at our heat map from the United game, that would be pretty similar. So, I think they just are struggling, and then they were struggling with 10 men, and that really sucks. It's not like you're playing well and you feel like you can fight back and get something on the road. This was just never going to work. So,
yeah.
Well, let's take a very quick ad break when we get back. I want to talk a little bit more about that rotation, and then also we do have a shithouse moment of the match we want to get into as well. But stay tuned. We'll be right back. So just maybe in general, Jess, in terms of liking the rotation that Maresca used in this fixture, the way that he managed it. We know that there's been injury concerns. I mean, you mentioned obviously the Malagusto one there, Joao Pedro not available due to suspension. It does feel as if this was an optimal type of rotation. I mean, I think maybe that the head scratcher was probably Sanchez, but I guess getting a game off every now and then, probably not the worst thing for your keeper. This, though, I think showed some level of kind of flexibility to say, hey, I'm going to trust Lavia. I'm going to trust Caicedo. I'm going to be, and if we get ahead, I'm actually going to use my subs effectively to make sure that like rest does happen for my players.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, right? It's what we've always asked of him to use his players, trust his players, particularly in midfield. So, I mean, there is an argument about Andre, and people say, "Oh, you're talking about Andre again," but you could argue maybe could be courageous and start with Andre or not. But I think he was perfect today. I think he, in terms of his sub, every sub had meaning. He protected the players that he needed to protect. We saw a lot of players. We saw academy players, young players coming in. I wasn't expecting actually to see like George play, Tyrique George playing, and he did as well. And he rested Guiu, which pointed out to maybe Guiu having minutes against Sunderland as well. So I think it was fantastic. And I remember, obviously, being from Brazil, watching Brazilian pundits and throughout the game, that was the main talking point, was one that we've talked about, how this group seemed united. Obviously, the thing we're going to talk about Enzo Fernandez giving the ball to Estevão, that was a massive thing here in Brazil. But also just how Chelsea were able to use our squad, and give those needed rest to the players that are, because we have been suffering with injuries, Levi Collins, we're talking about all the, and then again with red cards on top of that. So to be able to preserve the players that you do have available to a massive game in the Premier League is fantastic. And obviously we know the season is incredibly long. So when you can rotate and use the squad that you have to take that chance. So I think he was absolutely perfect with how he approached this game. I don't know if Nick agreed. I think Nick was like nodding, so I'm gonna take that as a sign that Nick agrees with what I'm saying.
No, you have to do this. We talked about in our last match review, Dan, the necessity of turning the squad over and giving rest. You cannot risk re-injuring Reece James. You cannot risk Moises Caicedo when he's not, at his physical peak. Same with Enzo. They're just a bunch of guys who need more time between matches than some others do. And I think in a match like this, where you're playing not the best ever version of Ajax, this was a calculated gamble from Enzo Maresca that worked out beautifully. Enzo Maresca couldn't have known there was going to be a red card in the 17th minute. And that we were not going to be the ones receiving it for the first time in 5 matches. But this is, it's just one of those things where it just works out. And, it allows Jamie Gittins to get some confidence. It allows Big Steve to get in there and do his thing. And I think it's a really important goal from Mark Guiu, who I think has kind of just been doing some of the running so far as he's featured, but gets the goal and genuinely looked like a player that was there to be reckoned with today. So all this being said, it's smart rotation. It's getting players who are maybe on the more fragile side, some much needed game time in a pretty low pressure situation. And your starters are going to be available for the weekend, knock on wood, no injuries in training. So it's a win-win-win.
Oh, let's also talk about a shithouse moment in the match, Nick. We brought it back this season. Obviously, we brought it back after a bunch of wins. Did you have one for this one? I have one that I'll submit in a second, but it is your segment, so I don't want to steal your thunder.
Wout Weghorst, step to the front of the class, please. After your shenanigans with Moises Caicedo, the elbowing and such, our boys came after you a little bit, and I love that, and I thought that was a good thing. First, you had a couple of slide tackles, which I thought were good. Then there was the mix-up with Tosin. Tosin's also a pretty large lad, my guy, so perhaps, finally picking on someone your own size didn't work out for you. But if you really watch the replay of that Tosin challenge where he ends up with the bloody forehead, I'm pretty glad they did not review that with VAR, because it kind of looked intentional to me. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing necessarily, because I think our boys were sticking up for Moises Caicedo, and if there's anyone on the team who deserves to be stuck up for, it's Moises Caicedo. But I think our boys took turns a little bit, making his life not that fun, and then he gets substituted because he got the yellow card late in the first half for dissent, and doesn't play the second half. So Wout Weghorst, you entered the danger zone and did not come out ahead. You're welcome.
So I think mine, it has to be the on the field video review for the red card. I have not seen a quicker walk to and then turn around from the single image. Didn't even show him full video. Just said, hey, here's the image, my guy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I screwed up. Let me run it back here and officiate this appropriately. I was in stitches. I was laughing so hard at just how quickly that ended up happening.
Long may it rain. That's a great. He almost broke his leg. Okay, bing. Yeah. Thank you. It's great.
I was gonna say, can I add one? Can I say one? It is now my second at all.
Hell yeah.
But it was just one moment that I was just favorite. The fans singing to Weghorst about calling him a quote unquote terrible Andy Carroll. I'm not going to use the bad word.
He's a shit Andy Carroll. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll say
it. So that moment, and it was quite funny because he looked at the fans and he laughed and clapped. So that was nice. It was a good moment for me.
Yeah, I respect players who can dish it out and take it, Dan. That was pretty solid. That was, that's it.
Talking about things that were solid. The stat pack for Chelsea in this one, pretty exceptional on the day. 66% possession over the total of parts of the match. It was 3.54 expected goals there, 1.0. We had 5 big chances to their 1. We had 22 total shots, 11 corners, and no red cards for us. Just a really big, I want to call that one out here. Very important to see. Wow. It's quite excellent.
We did it.
Yeah.
It's been one match since we had a red card. Dan, update the marker board with 1 day since our last red card. Okay.
And then 10 of our shots were on target. So 45.4 or 0.5 is rounding up percent on the day. But I also want to talk about the goals. Do we have a favorite goal of the bunch, Jess? I mean, I think you might have a favorite, but I'm just going to ask.
I mean, obviously, it was, and
obviously it's Mark Guiu with the stamp down. Yeah. Like, come on.
No, I was kidding. Obviously, I mean, it is completely subjective, but it is Estevão's goal, his first goal in the UCL, and I mean, now being the youngest player to have scored for Chelsea in the Champions League is fantastic. And the fact that it was a record, that he broke the record of Mark Guiu, like in the same match, was fantastic. It was great, but it was lovely. Just everything about the goal. Obviously the technique, the shooting was great, fantastic. David Luiz vibes, but also everything prior to that, the fact that he got the pen, I mean, it was on him, the foul, and Enzo Fernandez really being like a proper captain and showing the trust in him. And I think it just reflects about what I was seeing throughout the game. It makes me very happy, which is the team trusts Estevão and sees his talent. You could see Enzo trying to find him throughout the game. You could see Gittins trying to find him, and it would just all came together wonderfully. And Enzo Fernandez giving that ball to him to take that pen. So it was probably my favorite moment of the match. Obviously, again, very subjective, but couldn't be happier.
Nick, how you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the moment from the game. I do think that you look at the first goal and Mark Guiu just barely staying on by like the hair on his chinny chin is not unimpressive to me. I think the finish is kind of clunky, but it was a great pass and it's a good finish, and it got us started like a minute after the red card too, which is just like the capitalize on the momentum while it's there sort of moment for me is always critical. If you can do that, you're going to win a lot more than you lose. So I was really pleased for him as well. I mean, that's going to be the trivia question one day, which is like who was the youngest Champions League goal scorer before Estevao, and then it's Mark Guiu, so
I mean, interesting though that Wes Fofana ended up being the guy on the assist for that goal too. So like that was just
Yeah.
like the way
Wild.
that dead ball
Good header.
situation kind of worked
Man.
together, like really, really good. I mean, like our dead ball play, our set piece play, like this season, I think continues to be, spoken about enough, but probably maybe could use deeper examination just on how that's kind of really transformed, the danger and the threat that this team can kind of present in a lot of situations. I'd love to go a little bit deeper on Estevao here. We can just kind of go through some stats. Obviously had the goal. His expected goal total, he actually accounted for 1.66 of the entire team. Now, to be fair, when you get a pen, that's about 0.8. So, but he generated like an additional like penalties worth of goal himself. Of which I think the bicycle kick was the one that I'm most disappointed did not go in.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was about to ask that the bicycle kick actually counted like in the real sense and of what it meant, because it meant a lot in my heart. So I think it deserves a higher rating there, just for that moment. So just saying, I think they need to change it.
We'll say it was higher than a penalty. We'll say it was a 0.9 for that one. But I mean, it was interesting. We could talk about it kind of in comparison to like Jamie Gittins and Mark Guiu. Jamie Gittins ended up with the UEFA Man of the Match award. I think that, my individual player that I enjoyed watching the most the entirety of the game was Estevao personally, just in terms of what he was doing and how much energy and excitement he brought Nick. I mean, just missed the one big chance, had 2 shots blocked, had 3 shots on target. It was so much fun to watch. Like this was exactly, what you were hoping to see, and the evolution, kind of how quickly he's just finding a way to get involved, to stay involved, and to put his imprint on this Chelsea side when he's getting opportunities is super, super critical.
Star boy with the star ball, Dan. I mean, this is we're in the Champions League. It's fascinating to watch. I mean, it truly is like a captivating experience to watch him play football. And we are very lucky that we get to do it and root for it at the same time. And, the thing that, when I talked to Matt a couple weeks ago after the Liverpool game, Matt's note to me was he could be anything. And I took that as like in a very Matt fashion, like, go straight to the top. I mean, it's not hard to see it. It's not hard to project it. It's, I think the freedom, the excitement, the like genuine vibes that he brings to the table, and that he is trying stuff that we haven't had players try in a very long time. It's all just so refreshing. And, I love the Enzo Maresca interview with TNT, I think after the game, or Sky Sports, one of them, where he goes, look, he's some of these young players, they get in over their head a little bit. They think they're better than they are. He comes into work. He trains hard. He's humble. He's just a good kid. And it's really hard. His parents have done a good job with him, obviously. Like, this is all effusive praise from Enzo Maresca. And it's really the first time that we've seen him like go full in on the praiso-meter, because I think he's been trying to protect him, like we've talked about, Jess. But you're not going to be able to hide him much longer. I mean, he's just doing crazy shit, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I still think the best we've seen of him with a Chelsea shirt was the time that he got against Liverpool. I think that was the best that we've seen of him. But I think he had a good game, and I'm harsh in terms of because I know what he can do. I've been watching him for ages, and I think fans will still get happier and happier, because the more he gets comfortable with his surrounding, the more he's going to show. And it's great. I think also from a Brazilian perspective as well. Obviously we do have a history of players, being discovered too soon, but you have all the extra field off the field issues. And I think throughout my entire life, the one player that I have that can think of like on top of my head was Kaká. Right? Maybe Gabriel Jesus after him, but the one that there was a lot of expectation, a huge player, but you didn't hear a single bad thing about him off the field. It was very focused, very humble with the family. And we have that with Estevão. That's the recipe for success for years to come. And to know that is like Enzo Maresca realizes what he has. He realizes also what he has on field, off the field. It just helps us. And I was talking before on this episode about the interview with Estevão, with Fred Caldeira from Brazil. And Fred was very much like he was representing Brazilians. He was talking about how we are happy that Chelsea is really working with Estevão, making sure that he feels safe, that he feels supported on the field, off the field. And that translates to how well he is performing. And Estevão reiterated that he has been having a lot of support with, the players, the staff, and help with his family. So that's just fantastic to see that the club know what they have and in Estevão, and that they're working to get the best out of him. And my feeling is just the best is yet to come. I'm just so sure of it. As long as we let him be his courageous self and develop in the way that he is developing, we can just be very, very happy that we're going to have a top player for years to come.
Nick, another player who has been, I think, trying to figure out what their place in this team is. I mean, there's two of them, so you can take your pick. I mean, Mark Guiu comes back off of a loan, obviously scores a goal in this game, kind of maybe jumpstarts what could be his season here, because obviously can't go back out on loan now. Kind of register for competitions in January. So he's here. He's going to be a guy. And Jamie Gittins, who really I think had struggled to find kind of a way to imprint himself, but both him and Estevao made the fullback's life miserable on the day for Ajax. So would you like to talk about either of them?
Yeah, I'll take Guiu because I think, I was kind of like thinking back, and I was watching some of his tape last year just to see if I was like remembering it right. There's something about him. He has something to him. I think he's not just the battering ram. I think there is some like flair to his game. I know it's not as pronounced as some others in the team, obviously, but I don't know, man. I think if he doesn't tear his hamstring clean off the freaking bone last year doing the splits, then he would have contributed a lot in the second half of the season. I think he was just starting to be trusted, and I think he's probably at that point again. If he is able to play meaningful minutes until Liam Delap is back, and even when Liam Delap is back, play the minutes that Delap can't play, it changes everything we can do up front. Because I think if you put João Pedro back into a more familiar area where he's both distributor and scorer, it's just going to open up the wings. It's going to open up passing lanes that haven't been there for a couple of weeks. And if he's able to get a few goals along the way, it's just a massive, massive bonus for our team's third string striker to be productive. And I really hope he is, because sometimes these injuries happen at the worst possible time. And it's one of those like sliding doors moments where it's like, what if he would have had a run and Pedro Neto wouldn't have had to play number 9 for like 7 straight matches in February and March last year before Nicholas Jackson was back, right? Like you kind of just start going through all the path not taken. But man, I think he has a real opportunity coming up, and I think he will be trusted, and I think he kind of has to be trusted because he has the energy to press, and that press creates chaos, and we can work with chaos. That's a good thing for us.
Well, I do want to talk about Jamie Gittins again, official man of the match as well, and someone who's I think been struggling to figure out, both in terms of like getting overall minutes. Right, he only has 206 minutes in the Premier League so far this season, so not the recipient of a bunch of Enzo Maresca's attention so far. I mean, he's only at 305 minutes across all competitions before this game. Registers his first attacking return in an assist in this game too. So like again, progress, not perfection. You're looking for an opportunity for a young player. Again, just a reminder for you all, like 21 and days old. So, I mean, that is something to kind of keep in mind here too for him. But like the one assist, his expected assist total on the day was 0.47. He did create one big chance. He had 5 key passes. His crosses could have been a little bit more accurate, 2 out of 5, but his passes in general, overall, 93%. in that, and then opposition half, it was 84%. Like it felt like he was finding a little bit more purchase, a little bit more opportunity to involve himself in the game. And I think part of that was the level of opponent. But then also, I think just maybe he looked as if, to me, Jess, that he just wasn't taking as much time on the ball as he had in previous matches. He was moving his feet and moving the ball off his feet just a little faster, and not taking that like second or third extra step, which was catching him out in some of the prior games. Did you see that at all, or did you maybe see anything different?
I think it's pretty obvious that it was his best game for Chelsea. I think the one that he felt most comfortable, when that we saw the best of him. I do think it helps that he was playing against, as you mentioned, very, very weak opposition, particularly in the fullback area. I mean, we had the preview with you and Sam and talking about all the injuries they have and everything, and how fragile they were in that area at fullback. And so I think it helped a lot. I don't know, that's the thing. I'm having trouble reading whether it was just him, in the improvement of him, or the fact that he was never like doubled up, and that he was against weaker opposition. And that's not to take away any merit from him. I think he really had a really good game, and I was very, very happy to see him getting that Man of the Match award. Although I agree with what Nick was saying before, I particularly liked Estevão more. But I love that he got that, because I think it helps with his confidence. I do think that he has a good game, and he can build from that onward. So I'm just all positive for him, but I'm just having a tough time in taking conclusions out of whether or not he actually evolved or understood aspects of his game, and having all of that. But it is definitely a good step in the right direction. The fact that he played the entire game for me was massive, because that's how you build like consistency, and I wasn't expecting that to happen at all. I was expecting the obvious sub of him going out and Garnacho coming in and all of that, and that didn't happen even when Tyrique came, and so just very, very happy for him. But I'm just, because he is not a player that I knew very close before joining Chelsea, I'm just taking my time understanding his strengths and where he is not that great, different from Estevão, who I've watched for a long time. So I'm just like taking my time and seeing where he goes.
Look, we're going to get our last ad break out of the way when we come back. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on this weekend. Obviously, tons of rotation in this fixture sets us up for hopefully some strong success against a Sunderland side that is punching, at their weight or above their weight, potentially, relative to a couple other teams in the Premier League this season. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that after this break. All right, Nick, we're coming back, and we have to look ahead to this weekend, because Chelsea will be back in action. They'll be playing Sunderland, and it's an opportunity for Chelsea to continue the winning streak, to continue to get another 3 points in the Premier League at a time where you'd love to continue to stay in that top 5 type of situation here where Chelsea are at right now, and kind of putting us at 14 points, which is only 5 behind Arsenal in the top of the table, and only 2 behind second place. So like you get 3 points this weekend, you can do some very quick moving up the table, depending upon what happens in that Bournemouth match, how Liverpool, if they can or have truly rebounded, or if this match during the midweek was a little bit of a blip for them in terms of positive results versus negative results. Thoughts on the rotation, the lineup heading into this Sunderland match?
Super, super important that we were able to rotate today. I mean, I think you'll see another pretty full rotation in this one. I think you'll see Sanchez back. I think you'll see Reece James back, Cucurella back, Trev and Josh back in the middle. Probably a little bit of musical chairs in midfield, depending on, if Caicedo and Enzo are both ready to go, or if only one of them can play a half or whatever. I think you'll probably see a little bit of that. But then, you'll get your front four back. You get Guiu up top for a majority of the time. It'd be sweet if he scored against Sunderland after spending 3 weeks there in August. That'd be kind of a fun one. And then, you get Pedro Neto, you get Joao Pedro and Garnacho, and you feel like you should be able to do that at this point at home. You should be able to get it done. But this is a Sunderland team, I will just say this, beats up on West Ham, not that impressive. West Ham suck. Lose to Burnley out of nowhere. Burnley also not good. out of the EFL Cup. So they're kind of started the season weird. Then they beat Brentford. They draw with Palace, and that draw with Palace is actually pretty impressive because Palace, I think, are decent. They draw with Villa on a red card. They beat Forest. They lose to United, and then they beat Wolves. Their early season schedule not been the most challenging, but I do think, having watched them play, it's going to be an incredibly physical game, and they are not going to just fall over for us. Like, we're going to have to go beat them and try and break them down and deal with their shenanigans. So, I think we have the team to do that.
Jess, in terms of the rotation, are you thinking about anybody in particular that you're looking to see starting this one? I think obviously Joao Pedro comes back in, because he was not available for this game, red card. Thoughts on just any other movement you might expect from Maresca, or maybe either rotationally because of availability, or even just matchup related against Sunderland?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much like Nick said. I think it's very straightforward based on the subs that we saw today. Or at least it's what I'm hoping. The one that I really want to see, and I think the majority of Chelsea fans would agree with me, is to have Mark Guiu and João Pedro starting the game together. The fact that Mark Guiu got subbed immediately, like in the first opportunity, is a good indication that he was being rested or preserved to start against Sunderland, and that would be the best case scenario. Also, based on what Maresca said before, when you have like very physical centre backs and you need that focal point. So everything in my mind, at least, indicates that he's going to go with Mark Guiu and João Pedro. And that's, I think, the best solution. Again, the matchup between Garnacho and Neto, I don't think it's the best combo. So I'm just going to see how it how it's going to unfold everything. They're both great pressers, and as you mentioned, it should be a very, very physical game, particularly the center backs and the full backs. And I actually have been impressed with Sunderland. Maybe because I don't think anyone was expecting them. They got a lot of players in terms of transfers. They invested a lot of money, but I wasn't seeing anyone really expecting them to do as well as they are doing, particularly in defense. I don't think it's easy to score against them. So we're going to need to be creative there. And I think having Mark Guiu as that focal point and his movement, which in my mind has been the best asset so far from him, from Estevão's go against Liverpool, and the last match against Forest as well, just the movement in the box, attracting the center backs to close him down. The fact that you have that person, and then you can have someone from, either the wings or the midfield, even João Pedro, if he's occupying that center area, to come from behind and score that goal can be very important to us. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most, and actually think it will happen.
Oh, we do have plenty to look forward to this weekend. We'll have a match preview coming out as well with our good friend Sam, the newlywed. But we do want to look at the Champions League table before we get out of this one here, Nick. And look, a bunch of nines at the top of the table. I mean, 1 through 5th place right now: PSG, Bayern Munich, Inter, Arsenal, Real Madrid. And then it gets into the 7 points with Dortmund and Man City. And then it gets into that weird kind of combination of sixes based upon goal difference. And that's where, you could say you're tied, but you're not actually tied because you're behind on goal difference.
Yeah, that's going to be Newcastle, who have a +6 goal differential in 8th place. So right now they would make the cut to not have to play those 2 extra games in the deep heart of winter in January, which no one wants to do. After that, the cutoff line goes Barcelona, old foes, at +5 goal diff. Liverpool, old foes, +4 goal diff. Chelsea in 11th place, +3 goal diff. Sporting Lisbon on a +3 goal diff. We have the same exact setup as they do, same exact record, except we have a alphabetical order advantage. Karabag, everyone's surprise team here, even though they did pick up an L today, on a +1 goal diff. Galatasaray on a -1 goal diff on 6 points. That takes you all the way down to 14. So after that, you have Spurs, who cares, PSV, Atalanta, Marseille, Atletico Madrid, who just got washed by Arsenal, doing us no favors whatsoever. Club Brugge, Athletic Club, Frankfurt, and then Napoli and USG making up kind of the cutoff line before everyone else is in the bin, including Juventus, Bayer Leverkusen, Olympiacos at all. So we're in the mix. Again, there will be a slip up at some point. I anticipate that slip up will be, somewhere in the Dortmund area, perhaps in the Inter Milan area, perhaps in the Newcastle area. So there's time left, right? I think we have 6 or 5 more matches in the group phase, or in the league phase, I should say. So, there's 15 more points to get. Go get them.
Yeah, plenty for Chelsea to do, plenty for us to do, and then plenty more content coming your way. Again, we do have that match preview that will be coming out, and then plenty more the following week, a Sunderland match review. We'll get you in for some League Cup action as well, too, and look to round out this part of scary season for Chelsea that hopefully ends up with a couple more wins. So that's going to do it for this episode. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon on YouTube to get notified if we've got new content out there for you. Also, leave nice comments and say how much you enjoyed us talking about Ajax losing 5-1 to Chelsea, because that was a lot of fun. You can sign up for our free weekly newsletter, the London Blue Dispatch. You can also leave 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's always appreciated. And don't forget, if you have questions about the trip to London, let us know. Contact at londonsbluepodcast.com. We'd love to see you over there if you're considering it. If you just have a general question, happy to answer those for you. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.